Hi guys, Mr. Hiblong here, and we're looking at Unit 3, Lesson 1, Activity 2. When we're looking at this, we have a bunch of squares, and we're looking at the perimeter of a square, and we're also being asked to measure the diagonal of the square. What we're really doing is looking at the relationship between the diagonal of the square to the perimeter of the square. That's what we're looking at, the relationship. With that being said, we're going to jump in here, and we're going to measure the square A. So I'm going to warn you before we get started that if you print this off and measure it, or if you measure it on your screen, or if even you measure it in your workbook, it's all going to be a little bit different. But there should be something that's the same, and we'll get to that in a minute. So in my measurements on the one that I printed off and looked at, the diagonal of A measures at 5.7 centimeters, and I would use centimeters. Now, also, we got to remember that the perimeter goes all the way around the outside of a square, and that's the measurement all the way around the outside of the square. And for a square, we can actually say that it is 4 times the side length, or 4s equals the perimeter. So then now we can take however many sides, whatever the measurement of the side is, to equal the perimeter. And in this case, our perimeter equals 16.1. So we have a diagonal of 5.7 centimeters and a perimeter of 16.1 centimeters. Now you should go and measure all of these and write all of them down into the table that is in your workbook. And we'll come back together and look at that table here in just a minute. Okay, so first of all, I want to let you know that your passcode is 3 to get to the next section. But before we jump into that, I want to show you that this is what your table should look like. If your numbers aren't exactly the same, it's okay. Could be a variance in measurement. It could be a variance in printing, whatever it is. But this is what it should look like. Now, the thing that should jump out at you is if you divide the perimeter by the diagonal, it should still be very close to 2.8. So that would make 2.8 our constant of proportionality. And we know a lot about constants of proportionality. And then if you go ahead and graph that below as your book instructed you to do, your workbook instructed you to do, it would look something like this. Now, it might look a little different, but we know because it is a proportional relationship, because it has a constant of proportionality, all of them are the same. We know that when we draw that on a graph, we ended up with a line that would go through 0, and it would be a straight line. Now, excuse my drawing. It's maybe not perfectly straight, but you get the idea. And we also know that this line would go through the point 1, 2.8. So that you go through right about the point of x equals 1 and y equals 2.8. So guys, hopefully you can see this as a proportional relationship, because the diameter of a square is in a proportional relationship to the perimeter of a square.